Hey, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? Peace and power, elevation be to all you guys. It's your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. I started a little late. Yeah. I forgot that I was actually doing this channel to be honest with you. So I started very late. But I'm here. Anyways, thank you guys for subscribing to the channel. For those of you that have subscribed and hit the notification bell. Also, shout out to my current subscribers that's been coming on here watching the videos and coming in the chat and whatnot. So, sorry for the delay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and record this video, and then you guys, if you if you have a chance, you can watch it later to see what the topic I'm talking about and the information that I'm presenting, etc. So um today topic is going to be about Alexander Twilight. So Alexander Twilight was a minister, he was a politician, and he was an educator. So he carried multiple titles. And he was a part of this political party called the Wig Party. So the Wig Party, which has the H in it, spelled WHIG, which I have a book about that so you guys can look more into it for yourself. Okay, so the Whig Party was around the time of the Federalist Party. This is before you had the Republican Party, but you didn't really have the Democrat Party. So now today we only have the Democrat and Republican, and you have independent parties. But the main two parties are Democrat and Republican. But at once upon a time, there was the Federalist Party, and then there was the Whig Party, then the Republican Party, then later on came the Democratic Party. All right, so he was a part of that political party, whatnot. And you have to remember back then, a lot of black people, when it came to engaging into politics, most of them are either joined the Republican Party or they joined the Whig Party. Even when the Democratic Party came in, you had majority of black people that was still in the Republican Party. All right. So, anyways, let's go ahead and let's get started. All right, so I got information posted right here. Alexander Twilight. So Alexander Lucius Twilight was born September 23rd, 1795. He died on June 19th, 1857. He was an American educator, minister, and politician. He was the first African American man known to have earned a bachelor's degree from an American college or university, graduating from Middleburg College in 1823. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, he graduated from Middleburg College in 1823. He was ordained as a congregational minister and worked in education and ministry all his career. In 1829, Twilight became principal of Orleans County Grammar School. There he designed and built Athenian Hall, the first granite public building in the state of Vermont. In 1836, he was the first African American elected as a state legislator, serving in the Vermont House of Representatives. He was also the only African American ever elected to a state legislature before the Civil War. His house and Athenian Hall are included in the Brownington Village Historic District listed on the National Register of Historic Places. So his African American roots. Alexander's father, Ichabod, was born in Boston, July 1765. Was it Isha or Ichabod? Father was black, his mother white, possibly an indentured servant. Eventually, Ichabod married Mary, described as white or light skinned, implying she was of partial African descent. Ichabod and Mary were free and mixed race of African and English descent. It is unknown if they were born free. They were likely descended of African slaves and English ancestor. Ichabod was a Revolutionary War veteran from New Hampshire. All right. It says his parents were both listed in the Corinth Vermont town history as the first Negroes to settle in Corinth, where they bought property moving from Bradford on November 28, 1798. All right, so then of course, he was born in Bradford, Vermont, Alexander Twilight. Um, so around 1802, when he was 8 years old, Twilight worked for a neighboring farm in Corinth. Working from an early age was typical of working class children of his era. For the next 12 years, he read, studied, and learned mathematics while working in various farm labor positions. Twilight enrolled in Randolph's Orange County Grammar School in 1815 at the age of 20. From 1815 to 1821, he completed all the institution secondary school courses as well as the first 2 years of a college level curriculum. He enrolled in Middlebury College in 1821, where he graduated in 1823 with a Bachelor's of Arts degree. He was the first known African American to receive a degree from an American institution of higher learning. This did not become widely known until 1826, when Amherst College awarded a bachelor's degree to Edward Jones and claimed that he was the first African American college graduate, which prompted Middlebury College to publicize Twilight's earlier graduation. His first job was teaching in Peru, New York. Twilight also studied for the ministry with the Congregational Church and served several congregational churches. He occasionally led worship services and delivered sermons. The chaplain chaplain Presbytery of Plattsburgh licensed him to preach. Twilight taught for 4 years in Peru, then moved to Virginia's Vermont in 1828 to teach during the week and whole weekend churches service in Waltham and Ferrisburgh. In 1829, Twilight was hired as principal of the Orleans County Vermont Grammar School in Brownington, the only secondary school in two-county area, where he was also ordained as minister of the Congregational Church. He built a house for his family shortly after arrival, which still stands and is headquarters of the Orleans County Historical Society. So as you can see, this is the Athenian Hall, which is now known as the Old Stone House. Okay. All right, so it says 1836, Twilight was elected to the newly established Vermont House of Representatives. Vermont's legislature was unicameral consisting only of the Senate until 1936, becoming the first African American to be elected to a state legislature. It says he left his job as headmaster in 1847. Apparently, after falling out with the Brownington School's trustee, he taught school in Shipton and Haley in Quebec. Without Twilight's leadership, the school in Brownington experienced decline of enrollment and it was closed in 1852. Persuaded to return to Brownington, Twilight resumed his duties as principal and pastor. He resigned as pastor in 1853 and continued as principal until 1855. So in October 1855, Twilight suffered a stroke, which left him partially paralyzed and caused him to retire as principal of Brownington School. He died on June 19, 1857, and was buried at the Congregational Church in Brownington. So in 1826, Twilight married Mercy Ladd Morrell of Unity, New Hampshire. They remained married until his death and had no children. Mercy Twilight died in 1878. So right here, this is the Alexander Twilight Hall at Middlebury College. Okay. All right. So it's a college located in Vermont, in his hometown. So these are his legacy and his honors. Um, Alexander Twilight House, 1830, still stands across the street from at Athenian Hall. Today it serves as a headquarters for Orland County Historical Society. All right. And it says Alexander Twilight Hall at his alma mater, Middlebury College, was named in his honor. The Alexander Twilight Auditorium at Linden State College is named for Twilight. The Aspire Alexander Twilight College Preparatory Academy in Sacramento, California was named for Twilight. It opened in fall of 2009. The Twilight Awards, a special awards show to celebrate teachers, schools, and education nonprofits, were named for Twilight. And so that's pretty much it. And here's the footnotes at the very bottom. And here's the further reading at the very bottom. And also here's the external links. Okay. All right. So that's the information on Alexander Twilight. And I want to read you guys something real fast about the Wig Party. So this information about the Wig Party comes from digitalhistory.uh.edu. All right. And it says here, although it took a number of years for Jackson's opponents to coalesce into an effective national political organization by the mid-1830s, the Whig Party, as the opposition came to be known, was able to battle the Democratic Party on almost equal terms throughout the country. The Whig Party was formed in 1834 as a coalition of national Republicans, anti-Masons, and disgruntled Democrats who were united by their hatred of King Andrew Jackson and his usurpation of congressional and judicial authority, came together in 1834 to form the Whig Party. The party took its name from the 17th century British Whig group that had defeated English liberties against the usurpations of pro-Catholic Stuart kings. In 1836, the Whigs mounted their first presidential campaign, running three regional candidates against Martin Van Buren, Daniel Webster, the senator from Massachusetts who had substantial appeal in New England, Huff, Lawson White, who had appeal in the South, and William Henry Harrison, who fought in Indian Alliance at the Battle of Tippecanoe and appealed to the West and to the anti-Masons in Pennsylvania and Vermont. The party's strategy was to throw the election into the House of Representatives, where the Whigs would unite behind a single candidate. Van Buren easily defeated all his Whig opponents, winning 170 electoral votes to just 73 for his closest rival. All right. Then it goes on to say, unfortunately, the 68-year-old Harrison caught cold while delivering a 2-hour inaugural address in freezing rain. Barely a month later, he died of pneumonia, the first president to die in office. His successor, John Tyler of Virginia, was an ardent defender of slavery and staunch advocate of state rights, and a former Democrat whom the Whig had nominated in order to attract Democratic support to the Whig ticket. A firm believer in the principle that the federal government should exercise no power other than those expressed enumerated in the Constitution, Tyler rejected the entire Whig legislative program, which called for reestablishment of a national bank and increased tariff. And the tariff is basically taxes like import tax and export taxes, and federally funded internal improvements. The Whig Party was furious, and angry mob gathered at the White House, through rocks through the windows, and burned the president's in, in effigy to protest Tyler's rejection of the Whig political agenda. All members of the cabinet but one resigned. Tyler became a president without a party. His ascendancy vetoed 9 bills during his 4 years in office, more than any previous one-term president, frustrating Whig plans to recharge the National Bank and raise the tariff while simultaneously distributing proceeds of land sales to the states. In 1843, Whigs in the House of Representatives made Tyler the subject of the first serious impeachment attempt, but the resolution failed by a vote of 127 to 83. All right, and so like the Democrats, the Whigs were a coalition of secessional interests, class and economic interests, and ethnic and religious interests. Democratic votes tend to be small farmers, residents of less prosperous towns, and the Scotch Irish and Catholic Irish. Whigs tended to be educators, professional manufacturers, business-oriented farmers, British and German protesting immigrants, upwardly aspiring manual laborers, free blacks, and active members of Sebastian, Unitarian, and congregational churches. The Whig coalition included supporters of Henry Clay's American System, states writers, religious group alienated by Jackson's Indian removal policy, and bankers and business people frightened by the Democrats' anti-monopoly and anti-bank rhetoric. Whereas the Democrats stressed class conflict, Whig emphasized the harmony of interests between labor and capital, the need for humanitarian reform, and leadership by men of talent. The Whigs also idealized the self-made man who starts from an humble origin and from small beginning rises gradually in the world as a result of merit industry. Finally, the Whig viewed technology and factory enterprise as forces for increasing national wealth and improving living conditions. In 1884 and 1852, the Whigs tried to repeat their successful 1840 presidential campaign by nominating military heroes for the presidency. The party won the 1848 election with General Zachary Taylor, an Indian fighter and hero of the Mexican War, who had boasted that he had never cast a vote in a presidential election like Harrison. Taylor confined his campaign speeches to controversial platitudes. Old Rough and Ready, as he was known, died after just 1 year and 127 days in office. Then in 1852, the Whigs nominated another Indian fighter and Mexican War hero, General Winfield Scott, who carried just 4 states for his dying party. Old Fuss and Feathers, as he was called, was the last Whig nominated to play an important role in a presidential election. All right, so let's go back up here just real fast. So the Whig Party was kind of like the Whig Party was like a bipartisan of Democrats and Republicans, and those who were not a part of any type of Masonic organization. So you had Republicans that was in there. Then you had Democrats who was very disgruntled, who had issue with Andrew Jackson. Because remember, Andrew Jackson, the Democrat Party came on the rise when Andrew Jackson came on the scene. So when Andrew Jackson came on the scene, that's when the Democratic Party came into existence. All right, and so the Democratic Party was kind of disgruntled with him, and it was like, look, we're gonna go ahead to the Whig Party because it's a little bit more opportunity, a little bit more leverage, etc. So the Whig Party opened up opportunity for those who were Native American that fought in the war, in the Mexican War, and those who were free blacks. So Alexander Twilight happened to be a free black that was able to get inside the Whig Party. Okay. I didn't learn anything about the Wig Party in school, to be honest with you. Peace, brother Chauncey. Thank you for coming through. I didn't learn anything. Yeah, I didn't learn anything about the Wig Party when I was in school because I didn't know nothing about them. I remember learning about the Federalist Party and the Democrat and Republican Party, and that was it. But yeah, the Whig Party wasn't taught much about, so I don't really recall it. But the first time I heard of was the first time I looked up this information about Alexander Twilight. But I was able to find a book. And you guys, if you want to read for yourself, you can. If you are interested in knowing more about the Whig Party, you guys can do that. So, excuse me. Give me a second. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry about that, but here's the name of the book right here. It's called "The Rise and Fall of the American Whig Party: Jackson Politics and the Onset of the Civil War." Okay, so as you can see, that's Andrew Jackson right there. Let's see what year this book came out. This was written by Michael F. Halt. So that's the research. This book came out in 1999. All right, so not fitted to make converse. Let's just let me just go ahead and read these first two paragraphs. It says the Whigs look forward to the approaching contest with all the confident ardor of men who are conscious of the justness of their cause and its righteousness read their claims to certain success. So wrote a Baltimore resident in February 1844 about the impending presidential election to the son of the certain Whig standard bearer Henry Clay of Kentucky that winter and spring through the summer and into the fall winds everywhere forecast triumph. Their own unprecedented harmony, the Democrats' apparent disarray, and faith that they had the superior issues and candidate generate Whig confidence. Their missionary tone, the frequent use of words such as righteousness and redemption, however, derived from another aspect of the race. So Clay's candidacy gave the campaign a special dimension. It vividly reminded Whigs of their ill-starred past, even as they contemplate a glorious future. Born in Virginia during the Revolutionary War, Clay had studied law there before moving on to a long and distinguished political career in Kentucky. First, a state legislator and in turn United States senator, he was elected to the House of Representatives in 1810 and chosen Speaker when he reached Washington. Aside from duty as a peace negotiator at Gwent during the War of 1812, he served as Speaker almost continuously from 1811 to 1825, as Secretary of State in John Quincy Adams' administration, and as Kentucky's United States Senator for most of the period after 1831. As Senator, Clay led the effort to build and define the Whig Party. By 1844, most Whigs considered him the embodiment and polar star of Whig principles. All right, so that's the information about the Whig Party. Again, let me show you guys the book right here. It's called The Rise and Fall of the American Whig Party. All right. So basically the Whig Party is like the bipartisan party. That's like the combination of both Democrat and Republican. It's kind of mixed together, basically. But they have more of conservatism type of thing versus uh the liberal concept. That's just my understanding of it. So, but again, you guys, thank you for watching the channel. For those of you that's on here, so this your girl Tiffany, and I will connect with you guys later. Peace and power and elevation be to all of you, and thank y'all for coming through. All right.